If you want to play Destiny 2 on Linux, then you have three options: get a console, dual boot Windows, or play it on a cloud service like Google Stadia. To be honest, none of these options sound really great. A console is expensive if you're only buying it to play one game. Plus, I also want to play it with mouse and keyboard, so dual booting Windows for just one or two games also seems like overkill, especially if you think about the used storage. But hey, why not just use a virtual machine? Well, virtual machines are not complying with Bungie's guidelines, and I don't want to risk getting my account banned, even though it's very unlikely that they even detect it. So for Linux gamers that want to play games like Destiny 2 on the platform of their choice, there's only really one viable solution: cloud gaming. I tried it, and let me tell you, it has its upsides, but also a lot of downsides. Let's talk about it right after you hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate your support. Cloud gaming, or cloud services in general, is something that big publishers like Microsoft, Google, and even Adobe increasingly try to provide. And there are actually a couple of reasons on why they want to do this. For once, they don't need to provide support on a wide variety of system configurations that would break local installations. They don't need to worry about their software being distributed illegally. And of course, they have all the control. But let's look at it from the other side. Some advantages for consumers are that you don't need much storage in your device. You don't need to worry about data thieves as much, since you no longer store files on your drive locally, which makes it also possible to use them on any computer without much setup time. But that being said, the ability to access your files from literally anywhere has also a huge downside. It needs constant internet access. But hey, nowadays wireless connections have become pretty good and reliable, right? Well, yeah. But also no, a good internet connection with lots of Mbits does not automatically mean that everything works just fine. You also have to consider latency, which frankly on 4G is way higher than on most copper and fiber-based solutions. Also, if you want to play while traveling, then you most certainly will switch cellular towers quite frequently, which will result in hiccups, quality and latency issues. So yeah, cloud gaming is not really ready for the go yet, since it is very rare to get a stable enough connection in most countries. And I really hope that no one is trying to force cloud gaming onto a mobile device. Well shit. So what about cloud gaming in your own home? If your PC is directly connected to your router, or you're very close to your Wi-Fi, then chances are you have a really good connection. If we are not factoring in the slightly increased input-output latency that naturally comes with cloud gaming due to, well, physics, then we basically achieve the same gaming setup that we already know and love. Except of course, without the need to buy expensive gear. And what can I say, that if you have a really stable internet connection, then it actually works really well. But why do I think that it's not the future then? Well, of course, the first problem would be competitive games. You simply won't be able to compete with really good players in games like CSGO or Valorant. But that's fine. It's not most games. So let's start off with quality. The first thing you will notice when using a streaming service like Google Stadia is the quality drop. Pair that with some sites not enabling HD content for Linux and sometimes bad hardware acceleration for video decoding, and we have a blurry image. Now this is still fine in my opinion, but it is noticeable. But hey, on Stadia you can enable higher resolutions and better video codecs. Sometimes these features do cost extra money, but some can just be enabled by a custom extension. I personally use an extension called Stadia Enhanced, which allows me to force certain available resolutions, video codecs, and change the language. Since apparently no one at Google thought that a person would want to play the game in a different language than their native one. Wow! Anyway, using the VP9 codec helps me a lot when getting a lower resolution or turn down bitrate due to a slow internet connection. But there's one major thing that keeps me thinking on why cloud gaming can probably never replace local game installations. And it really just is the quality. Yes, cloud services have been improving their resolutions and input latency dramatically over the past couple of years. But I just don't think that it will ever be enough. Check this out. We live in a world where we see resolution and refresh rate improvements by the year, even months in some cases. Now imagine implementing a 4K 120Hz experience in a cloud. For once, you have massive bandwidth requirements, but not only on the user side. You need a pretty beefy server to push even one instance of a game with this. And the higher the resolution and refresh rate becomes, the more people want higher in-game graphics settings, since they now see the poor quality of the game itself. Yeah sure, there are technologies like Nvidia's DLSS or AMD's FSR that help to lessen the load on a server or network. But is that really something that you want to spend your money on? If you use these technologies on your personal computer, then you want to save money to achieve higher FPS, or there simply is nothing better on the market if you bought the best models right at launch. But the thing is that you choose to use DLSS or FSR here. In the cloud, you can, but you're still paying full price. Now you might be thinking, why not just implement a higher price tier for native resolutions? Well, then we're back at the problem with server capacity. If you need a whole server to run 5 instances of a game instead of, I don't know, 15? Then you really need to invest in more servers, better networking, and bigger and better cooled facilities. And I don't think that this is really feasible. Cloud gaming, in my opinion, is something that really goes 100% against the user. You can easily achieve the same if you get yourself a static IP from your internet provider and just stream it from your local PC. So why do companies even do this stuff then? Well, for once, right now it is cheaper but more profitable. As I mentioned earlier, you can save support staff since you no longer need to factor in a wide variety of system configurations. You have subscription models, which means that a user cannot stop paying if they don't want to lose their games. But also you cannot really make it possible for a consumer to just buy the game online, since running a server is much more expensive than a single game sale provides. This is why we see these flat rates, where you don't even get to buy a license for a game. You pay for a service that holds the license. The big difference in comparison to traditional digital games is that if a game would be taking off Steam, if I downloaded it previously, I would still be fine. Yeah, sure, it sucks that you can't re-download it if you accidentally delete it, but on cloud services, this option was never there in the first place. If the company decides to take this game out of the flat rate, then it's gone. Combine this argument with the increasing costs of operating cloud gaming servers due to an increase in resolutions and refresh rates, and there are really only 2 things that can happen. 1, it fails miserable because it can't keep up with the quality demand, or 2, it gets widely accepted and we have a lesser experience now. And I don't think that this is something that anyone really would want. And that's exactly why I don't think that cloud gaming will be the future. Just stream from your own PC in your own home, since you cannot go out traveling anyway. And that's where I'll leave it. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to show it with a like and even consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this. And I think you should also click on this video right here. It's recommended for you. You should definitely click on it. And all that's left to say now is good morning, good afternoon or good evening wherever you are. I'll see you around.